What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So this is video number 3 regarding this particular film. The Cuties movie was released 2 days ago, and I made my video yesterday or maybe Thursday, kind of talking about my experience in watching the film. It was a rather lighthearted video, but I do want to first clarify that the video was made lighthearted just because that's how I am mostly. But this is a very disturbing, disgusting. I'm very upset. I did not like this movie. I'm looking very sideways at anybody who is thinking that this movie was in any way good or art or anything. I'm very confused. I'm concerned that a woman made this movie. Just if ever there was a way to, so I shoot dance videos, right? But in order to capture dancers the way that they were captured in this film, it requires you have to have a steady hand. You have to capture specific moments. You might have to get really close. You have to shoot on really long lenses. There is a lot of detail and attention that was captured in the way that this film was shot. And that makes it even more disturbing because there had to have been obviously opportunities when they were like, oh, we didn't really get that shot. Let's do it again. So there's a crew of 100 or so people standing around while this movie is being filmed. Now, I gave it initially a little bit of latitude, thinking that, perhaps there was, maybe 1 or 2 uncomfortable scenes in this film. But that's because the trailer for this film is so much more mild than the actual content of the movie. And I'm first wanting to start this off by saying no one should be watching this movie. Nobody should watch this movie. And I want to make that clear. And I should have made that clear from the very first statement of my last video. No one should watch this movie. There's way better ways for you to get the information or to get the point or to understand what, if you know that this movie exists, just know that there's people who are willing to make this movie, and you should guard your children with every ounce of your time and care that you could possibly put into something like that. I did not like this film. And I'm glad that some Congress leaders have stepped up now, and they're asking that the Department of Justice take legal action against Netflix. The fact that this movie exists on Netflix is what makes it even worse. I imagine someone could make a movie, but to give it distribution and put it on such a large streaming platform where it's readily accessible. There were times when I was watching this film when my 6-year-old would come in the room, and I had to tell him to leave because it was that bad. It was that bad. It wasn't a little bit bad where, oh, we could see where there's a good, no. It was shot inappropriately. And unless you are someone who is like a voyeur, you don't get that type of experience watching something unless you're looking at it that way. You're watching this film through the eyes of someone who is sexualizing little girls. It's not simply a scene. They're not wide angle shots. These are tight telephoto 300 millimeter shots of little girls' bodies. This is completely inappropriate. This should have never been made. But like I said, I saw that, what's his name? Senator, I'm sorry, is it Senator? This Congressman, Tom Cotton, I saw that he initially kind of spoke out about it, and it looks like now other members of Congress are joining forces, and they're looking to, they're calling the Department of Justice to actually investigate and take action against Netflix for this movie. This movie does need to be removed. I 100% stand behind that. Now, I'm not someone who's typically in the cancel culture, but in this case, yeah, cancel this. Lawmakers in Washington, most of them Republicans, called Friday for the Justice Department to take legal action against Netflix for streaming the highly controversial film Cuties, claiming the comedy drama sexualizes young children and serves as fodder for pedophiles. There is no excuse for the sexualization of children, and Netflix's decision to promote the film Cuties is disgusting at best and a serious crime at worst, Cotton told the Daily Caller. I urge the Department of Justice to take action against Netflix for their role in pushing explicit depictions of children into American homes. Remember when Justin Timberlake took Janet Jackson's top off during the Super Bowl, and that was like, whoa, that was a big deal, and they got in a lot of trouble for that. That's because people didn't know what they were walking into, and they were exposed to something that they weren't really expecting to see. That's how I felt watching this film. I felt like I'm watching a movie that has a point and a message to convey, and instead I was watching Skinamax. This wasn't just gross, man. Yeah, so they just kind of talk about the basic premise, the outrage. But we have a lot of congressmen. Deanna Lorraine, a former Republican candidate for Congress, tweeted, "Child pornography is illegal in America. As a mother of an 8-year-old girl, I strongly support cancel Netflix." I see Tulsi Gabbard got involved. She went as far as to accuse Netflix of being complicit in encouraging pedophilia and child trafficking. She's also joining in with the call for the Department of Justice to bring charges against Netflix for distribution of child pornography. Jim Banks from Indiana called the Department of Justice to bring legal action against Netflix. You don't fight child exploitation. Oh, that's Lila Rose. As a father of young daughters, I find it sickening. Not only is this movie fodder for pedophiles, it encourages very young girls to defy their parents' wishes and share pornographic images of themselves with strangers. Banks told the Daily Caller, "Our culture has come a long way in recent years, recognizing the power of television, movies, and magazines to affect young girls." Now, and I'll add this. I thought I saw this movie, but apparently from watching a few other reviews, there are scenes that I had no idea were in this film. I think that I kind of turned it off a little bit. Like, after being initially kind of shocked at the content of this film and the way it was made, I'll admit I was getting up and walking out of the room and things like that. But yeah, there's apparently way worse stuff than the stuff that I even mentioned in this movie. And again, I just want to reiterate, there is no need to watch this movie. I know that when you hear all of these people saying that this movie is really bad, you're like, oh no, it can't be that bad. So it piques your curiosity. I promise you, I'm a rational person. You check my other content. I 100% was one of the people who wanted to give this movie a fair shake based on the trailer and the artwork. I said, okay, well, let's see where this is going. I had no idea what I was walking into. This is far, far worse than what I could have ever expected. And this needs to be investigated. This needs to be taken off. And I don't understand why. I don't understand how this movie passed through so many hands and was even created, let alone distributed and released on Netflix. Like, that is really what blows my mind. I don't want to be on Netflix that bad that I'm willing to put together something like this. And I don't want this movie to set a precedence that something like this is okay, which is the only reason why I'm even speaking on this, to warn others and to make sure that Netflix never allows this to happen again, because their apology, it's a non-apology. I mean, they were aware of the film, so they should have known. They 100% should have known. And the fact that they didn't see this backlash coming is kind of crazy. The lessons taught in this film are not ones that I want my daughters learning, Banks continued. The DOJ should be readying charges against Netflix for distribution of child pornography. Yeah. So I just want to put that out, man. If you watch 11-year-olds twerk, you're a pervert. If you direct 11-year-olds to touch themselves on camera, you're a pedophile. If you support Netflix making and airing Cuties, you're enabling abuse, said Republican candidate for Congress James P. Bradley. Some critics hit out at those defending the movie, claiming it should be sold as art. This movie should not be sold as art at all. They apologized for Cuties posters. They were inappropriate and not representative of this movie. Netflix initially apologized, saying that the poster was inappropriate and not representative of this movie, which is absolutely absurd. The posters were the first indication of what this movie should be. That was what my initial video was, or my second video was yesterday, my review, that I thought that, yeah, I'm giving them a pass because that's just a trailer. That doesn't really depict what the movie's about. Nope, it does. And it's way worse. So their apology was false. Okay, they are 100% representative of what this movie is. So Netflix is calling this movie powerful. Yes, it's powerfully disturbing. Netflix is comfortable with this. Plenty of people will defend it. This is where our culture is at. If you call Cuties art or a social statement, I call you a child abuser. We have no time for niceties while children are being sexualized for mass entertainment, added writer Sonia Poulton. Others accused Democrats and Republicans of not speaking out and urged them to call for its removal. So, again, I just want to reiterate, man, just like how we talk about other situations in our culture, in our world today, silence is violence. Silence is complicit. And I don't want to be complicit at all in what's going on here. This is super disturbing. And I think that It's funny. I was talking to my wife because, after I saw the movie, 'cause she said she saw it. I was like, no, you didn't see this movie. You didn't see it because if you saw this movie, you would not be saying. My wife is a child advocate. If there's no way she saw this movie, she must have seen one little scene or something like that. So she wants to actually watch this movie. She wants to sit down and watch it, and we might discuss it. But I just want to be clear. This movie is absolutely outrageous. So there's been an online petition that's been started. It's calling for people to cancel their Netflix subscription. You've seen the hashtag cancel Netflix. And it's got 620,000 people supporting the online petition. So the world is definitely aware. This movie has just gotten a lot of attention. If the director of this film, who is a woman, by the way, just again blowing my mind, if she made this movie, she is at worst criminal. At best, she's inept. She should not be making. I mean, she shouldn't be handling films of this magnitude, at least. I mean, she can make a science fiction movie or something like that, but this, no, because she thought that these were good ideas. Like, your director is sitting in Video Village, looking at a monitor, saying, "Oh, we didn't really capture that. Let's do it again." So she's telling the cameraman to do it again. She's having the lights be adjusted to make sure they catch that angle. And the angles of the things that they were catching in this film were disturbing, unnecessary, unneeded, and should never be repeated in any film outside of one that's pornographic, because that was what you were watching, essentially. It's bad. So this is Josh Hawley. Let's see. He's a... So here we go. Josh Hawley has a letter. There we go. He wrote a letter to Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix. Actually, give me a second. Can I make that bigger? Yeah, okay, not really. In early 2019, journalists first began reporting that YouTube videos of children partial states of exposure were being inundated with comments by pedophiles exposing the children involved in the videos and other children visiting the platform to potential harm. Now, Netflix is airing a film called Cuties depicting children being coached to engage in simulated sexual acts for cameras both on screen and off. Your decision to do so raises major questions of child safety and exploitation, including the possibility of copycat behavior and exploitation of child actors. Please respond to the following questions no later than Friday, September 18th, 2020. And in the interim, please immediately remove this film from your platform. 1. Why did your company designate this film with a TVMA for language without any mention of the graphic sexual content? Again, this is that Super Bowl moment. I had no idea. This is graphic, okay? In marketing this film, did Netflix consult with any experts or authorities in combating child sexual exploitation or the psychological and emotional impacts of the sexualization of minors? In marketing this film, did Netflix consult with the law enforcement authorities or experts about the possibility of copycat behavior, such as viewing and imitation of hardcore pornography by children who may see this film? Did Netflix at any point take measures to ensure the protection of the physical, mental, and emotional health of child actors made to perform simulated sex acts and filmed in sexual and sexually suggestive ways? Why did your company choose to market this film, which touches on a range of issues including religion, culture, and social media, with a poster solely depicting scantily clad preteens in sexually suggestive positions? So that's where we are. This is, again, dated September 11th. On U.S. Senate letterhead, so hopefully we have some answers here. I wish there was a couple of better questions asked, like why did you purchase this film? What was your intentions to come from this? Did you think this was going to be entertainment? Who was your intended viewing audience? Like, I want to know, like, real significant questions, because this is the thing about the culture that we live in, because we have these media machines that are consuming all of this data about us. There was a reason behind why this film was created, or why this film was purchased by Netflix. So what triggers in their algorithm was Netflix looking at when they were like, oh, this is going to get a lot of views? Was it you were going for the outrage, or were you looking for a specific audience? And who was that audience? Tell me the avatar of what you were looking for when you decided to post this film, because I'd be very curious to know what your intentions were, how successful you expected this movie to be, and why. I'd also like to know if you have any plans to make any other additional films like this. Now, again, Netflix did not appear to actually make this movie. This seems like to have been an independent film. It got prominence through Sundance, and Netflix licensed it or whatever for distribution. But Netflix gave this film a voice. It amplified what would have been, again, a small niche film and gave it worldwide exposure by putting it on their platform. And I don't think there's really any legitimate reason that they could offer as to why they did that. But given the fact that Netflix has all of this data and they know all of these things about us, what were the real intentions? What do the numbers say about this film? And if you plan on making, no, I want to make sure that Netflix doesn't plan on ever making another film like this, because this is absolutely unacceptable. So with that said, I'm going to get out of here. I hope this is the last time I have to talk about this film until we're talking about who's going to be going to jail for this. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a like.